Hello crafty friends, this is the Paper Chef here. Welcome to part 1 of my Eden's Garden workshop series. In this video we'll be creating this project. It's a card using layers and pieces, die cut pieces, some Eden's Garden Designer Series paper, a couple other products as well. And I want to just go over what a workshop series is and kind of give you an idea of how to follow along. So every couple of months I start a new series. I recently finished my Giving Gifts workshop series. It had 9 parts. Last summer I did a Butterfly Brilliance series. And I've also done a Give It a Whirl series. So this is my 4th workshop series. It takes about 2 months to go through many projects on YouTube. And I like to focus for my customers and viewers on a product bundle, either 1 product, 2 products, and the most I've ever focused on is 3. And in this case, I expect everybody to have the Eden's Garden stamp set, but you can use pretty much any stamp set you have. And we're going to be using these dies as well. I need to just pull up my sleeves for a moment. So when you purchase the bundle in the catalog, this is actually part of the 2022 mini catalog. The reason I wanted to focus on this particular bundle is because it was an early release and I was able to get it, and so are you. You're able to get it now. You don't have to wait until January 4th for the catalog to come out. So it was an early release and then I got to play with it, so that was nice. So the Eden dies and the Eden's Garden stamp set can be purchased now. Now there are products that I'm using that I started hoarding so that I could put them in the kits. And when I say kits, if you're in the US, you can get a workshop kit. I'll open up a kit. Actually, I like to just delve right into. But like, for example, you get cardstock in your kit, so take out a piece of Evening Evergreen. And later I'll show you what's in one of my kits. They're very unique and they're not all exactly the same. All right, so what I'd like to do in this first video is an introduction. And then I'm going to, at the end of this video, show you a kit and show you many other projects, I should say, that I've been creating with this Eden's Garden bundle. So the bundle has some great sentiments for both the inside and outside of the card, but just alone you could just use hello there, sending hugs, and dear friend, how are you? You could also do something, let's celebrate everything. You could do this as a birthday card. My heart is tied to yours. And you can also do, this is distinctive stamping. You do some layering with these different sprigs and nature. So that's really fun. The thing I like, and I do like this one too for the inside, my heart is tied to yours. Tug if you need anything. So this is just a nice one to put in the inside for the dear friend. So mostly I do a few cards, but mostly I like to work with 3D projects, I should say. So I'll be doing a lot of 3D projects. So for the next video, I plan on doing a candy treat project, I should say. And the reason I plan on doing that is because I feel like with the holidays coming up, you can take whatever I teach you with the Eden's Garden and you can use it to apply to the holidays. All right, so with that said, let's just delve right in. And when I show you, so for these dies, I just wanted to show you something. Now it looks like parchment paper, right? It looks like wax paper. This is actually vellum and it's in your kit. And I do recommend, and we'll be coloring the vellum, and one of the techniques I'll teach you is coloring the vellum. But instead of using parchment paper to help get your dies out, you can just go ahead and cut this vellum cardstock, and it helps pop your other dies out. So you can do 2 layers at once. You can die cut a piece of vellum and a piece of this brushed metallic cardstock at the same time. There are only 5 dies in this set, so this is my favorite. We're going to be putting this on the outside of a box. So that's going to be really nice. It's called a craft gift box, and that's in your kit. So we're going to be putting one of these on the outside of that box. These can be cut into different elements themselves. So you can use these for layering as well, and you can use them for framing. So that's what I really like about this big element. So that's your big element. And then you have this little element, which we use today. We're going to cut it apart and use the little sprigs from this element. You can die cut these together, but you have to run them through twice because they help kind of push each other up a little. I think it better results. This is going to be, you can use for the edge of a bag or a border. So in other words, it doesn't cut this part off. You have to cut that with a trimmer. This just cuts a border on something. This is just a versatile sprig you can use for anything. And this one we're going to use today too. So we're going to use this one and this one in this project. And I chose, because of the Natural Textures paper, which is on clearance now for only $2, I chose this Natural Textures paper, and I chose this darker one of this one. See, we have this brushed metallic cardstock, and it comes in 3 colors. And I chose the darker color because I think it contrasts better with the natural touch. Then I wanted to use the gold elements to go with this Eden's Garden Designer Series paper. So let's do that part first because it's going to shake the table a bit. We'll do the die cutting first. So we're going to take out our machine. Let me go up. Okay, I see it's a gorgeous suite. Inike is saying, I get it. I'm going to go back and read your comments in a moment. I asked my husband to fix my tripod, and he did, and now I can't raise it. I said, hey, it's too loose. It doesn't go up and down, and now he made it so tight it doesn't. I can't even get it to go up at all. All right, so I guess I'm not making it go up right now. So we'll just have to do with it the way it is, because he made it so tight that it doesn't even raise up. So what I'm doing, though, just so you know, even though I'm pretty close, is I'm opening up the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I have a little piece of painter's tape here. The sandwiches, when you're cutting, is the plate 1. That's the multi-purpose plate, or multi-purpose platform, I should say. So you need the big platform. Then you need the plate number 2, because that's your die cutting thin die adapter. So you need 2. And then you need a number 3, right? And then you're going to need another number 3 at the end, or a top plate. That's your sandwich. So when you talk about die cutting, you always talk about a sandwich. Then you're going to need, and you're going to take, I've cut everything for you in 6x6 already in your kit, because it was just easier for me to ship. I was using a flat rate bubble mailer. Okay, so let's do this one. I'm going to take this piece of brushed metallic cardstock, and I'm going to cut this piece out, okay? This piece here. You can cut others while you're here. I mean, other pieces, because you're already going through. You're already cranking your machine through. But what I've found is that, and you can do 2 layers at once if you have a vellum layer. Don't do 2 layers of brushed metallic cardstock at once. I'm talking about doing 2 layers of vellum at once. I mean, 2 layers at once if you have vellum as one of your layers. Now, here's the trick. Before you take this off, make sure it went all the way through. Because if not, while it's still there, if it hadn't gone all the way through, then that's when you want to do your poking out. And you can use a die brush or just poke these little bits out. And if it's not all the way through, then you would, you're going to put it back through while it's still in the right place. But once you pop it away, it's hard to get that die to line back up again. So that's our little piece we need for our background element of this card we're making. So that's the piece, and it's brushed metallic cardstock. Love the cardstock. I'm so glad it carried over. I was already planning on carrying it over myself. Okay, now we need a piece of gold. Now, I've already used this gold, so it doesn't really matter because I like each project to be slightly different. So I'm just letting you know there's 3 types of brushed metallic cardstock, right? And I've been using this one, and let's just use this lighter one. It's still a type of gold, just for the sake of using it. And what's nice is I'm not going to do all this right now, but you can layer these inside each other when you're cutting. I just find that they help push each other up, and it doesn't give you as good of a result. So I tend to I get better results when I just do that. But it's okay to put your little sprig die, the little one that's just by itself. This one, it's okay to put that one in there because that one really doesn't interfere with that one. But I found that the 2 borders, when I put them in together, I don't get as good of results. Okay, and then you got your top plate. And I'm die cutting on the top corner because, so here's how you check. You can just check. You go like this. Wait, just look under there. Yeah, see, look under there and make sure you got a good one. And I'm using the corners so that I can get the most out of my paper. Okay, wiggle, wiggle, jiggle, jiggle, right, to get them out. And now while we're here and while the camera is so close, anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the sprigs I need. So we're going to pop these little pieces out. And then I can get rid of that machine. Because I'm done all the die cutting I need. Because this part is a different set. So this part is using, this little stitch guy is using the stitch rectangle framelets. And I've already cut a bunch of those out. And you might not have those. So if you don't have those, I just want you to cut yourself a rectangle. Okay, a rectangle to fit. And we'll put the measurements in the description of the video later. See what I mean? You're going to put a rectangle. You don't have to have a stitched rectangle framelit, but it does look much cooler when it's stitched. All right, so now let's go back to here, and I can zoom in and just kind of show you this little thing I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm poking out all the little bits, and I'm going to get my paper snips and get in there and curve. Like I'm going to get in there to the edge, and I'm going to go like this and sort of curve the end to make it look like it's supposed to be like that, right? So you're going to cut a little piece off and kind of curve the end, making it look like you die cut it like that. Okay? So you don't have like a sharp edge. So don't just cut like an angle. Make a little curve at the end. So it makes it look, and don't get rid of these pieces. These pieces are, I mean, they're golden, literally golden. Okay, and they're good to use again later. So we're gonna save all those little pieces. Okay. All right, so there we go. And now there goes my pokey tool. So this is called a take your pick tool. It's kind of invaluable little thing to have, or a die brush. Okay, let me zoom back out so you got to see that. So now let's do the next parts. Next step, and save these. Oh, by the way, if you want to get this bundle and the paper you can still get right now, this designer series paper, which we're going to cut. It's not going to be available though. It's a special release paper, and it's not going to be available during the next catalog. The Eden's Garden paper will not be. And I had totally forgotten about that. I mean, not that I didn't really forget about it, but like my friend Sandra, who does Facebook Live, she was talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's not going to be around. I mean, I was like, where did the time go? I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be around, but I just hadn't really thought about it, that I better remind you guys of that. And I was like, I better stock up on it myself, because actually I do like this nature paper. So I don't have a full pack to actually show you, so we'll just take out. And by the way, take out, if this is all you have, we're going to take out a piece of Natural Touch. But if you don't have Natural Touch, go ahead and take this paper out. It's called In Good Taste, because I want you to use the materials you have. In Good Taste Designer Series paper. This is current. You can get this now. It's a really cool giant pack of paper. But we're going to also use this Natural Touch paper, the one that I told you was on $2 on clearance. And it comes in sheets of 12 by 12, I think 2 sheets. 2 sheets in a pack. And then I gave everybody a sheet of that. So take that out. We'll cut this together. We'll get 2 cards done at once. And then you're going to take out some Designer Series paper. So I'm left with scraps here. And we just need a couple colors that are going to contrast. So it doesn't really matter if you use white or not, but I just think that these, the ones with soft succulent in it and evening evergreen, contrast better with this Natural Touch paper. But you could also get away with this really cool pattern too. Notice that all of these Designer Series paper pieces have gold foiling on them. Okay, so these are already the length I need them. All right, so scraps are my friend. I love scraps of paper. I'm going to get out my trimmer. And we'll write everything down. I'll write everything down on this little mat here, right? I'll write it down here, but I also plan on, not only, like if those that get my workshop are going to get like an actual PDF tutorial, but I'm going to give all my measurements to every video like I always do eventually. I'm still not done the Gift Giving Gifts Workshop series measurements, but I did get up to about part 5, so I'm proud of myself for getting that far. And I eventually put all the measurements on my YouTube videos because I know that they stay there for a long time, and well, they stay there forever, and I want you to be able to go back and get those measurements. So we are going to just look at these. So we have, and we'll do the other layers. So these are 3. Okay, so 3, 7, 5. So we're going to say let's do this. Because this is DSP. And this piece, in the first place, is going to be, and we're going to get two of these. We're going to do the natural touch and the natural textures, and the natural textures, or natural touch, or natural textures, sorry, and the in good taste both at once. We're going to cut them both at once, and we're going to make them 4 inches, right? 4 inches across, and they're going to be 5 1/4 wide. So we're going to make 2 cards at once, or we're going to adhere 2 cards. We're going to just make 1 card, but we're going to do all the showing you how you can make 2 cards at once. Okay, by 5 1/4. Okay, now that's the outside. Now you need these 2 pieces for the inside, right? And these 2 pieces are going to be 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. I have this memorized, but I have to double check because I had a bingo. We had a virtual bingo, and we made some cards. So you guys are going to recognize these cards. Now I'm just adding to them, and it's now what I'm doing. I'm adding to them. Yes, that's right. 1.25. So we're doing like similar cards to what I've done, but I've just done a lot of bling now. I've done a lot more bling, and I've changed the background, and I've changed the layering and some things, but I'll show you the ones I made, which are much simpler. All right, so while you're at it, you cut a bunch of these at once. I mean, because you already have the 3.75 or the 3 3/4, right? Already cut. So say you cut a big line of this or a big strip of this, then you just go ahead and you do your 1.25s. So 3.75 or 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. And you want to just you're doing it to leave room for all your little sprigs and things. I'm not going to cut these because I might need them for something else. All right, so now we are going to take, so that's that, right? Those are pretty. Okay, now we're going to take our evening evergreen, and I'm not going to sit and make you cut that, but that part that's a little strip. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. But we are going to cut the card base because we do need to cut the card bases. 1 second. 1 moment. Okay. So I had to just go get my measurements. Okay. So but we're just going to look at this one's even easier. So I have my measurements, but it's going to be 2 and not 7/5. Yeah, 2 5/8. This is because I'm using and 1 1/4. The reason mine looks this way and yours might not look the same way is because I'm layering it with one of my stitch rectangles. So evening evergreen. Okay, so I'm not going to make you cut that one, but we are going to show you how to make a card. So this is that little piece back there, the evening evergreen piece. I'm just going to go like that. Okay, just to kind of show you where that's at. So now we're going to go ahead and make the card itself. So to make 2 cards at once, you're going to get out your paper trimmer, and we want these cards to open vertically. So I'm going to grab a piece of evening evergreen cardstock. And because I want them to open vertically, I'm turning my paper horizontally, okay, 11 inches across. This is an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of paper. And I'm going to score at the 5.5 inch mark. Okay, now when I go to cut this paper, I'm making an A2 card. When I go to cut this paper at the 4 1/4 inch mark, I will have 2 cards at once. I will have 2 cards that I need, and they're already both scored for me. So isn't that easy peasy? Simple. 2 A2 cards. Now before you put this trimmer away, you're going to use this trimmer at the ledge of the trimmer. It has a little ledge here, and your bone folder. So what I've done is I scored right here. I'm going to turn this so you can see it. And because I scored there, that's a valley, and I'm going to raise that up like that's the mountain. Okay, that's the mountain. And you're going to put it, I'm just going to put it there. Just open that up and just use this little corner of my trimmer. So when I do my bone folder, I got my Stampin' Up! Bone folder. When I fold the edge down, I have that little bit of the ledge. It'll keep you from getting wonky cards. So if your cards are wonky, crooked, you know what I mean? If they're crooked, they're wonky, it's because you're not using some kind of corner when you're doing your card folding. All right, so now we're ready to do our layering. Okay, so there's our cards. Done with the trimmer. I'm done with all my cutting. Now it's ready to, now I'm done with all the cutting. Now we're ready to glue. So we're not making this one right now, but I'm just showing you that it's the same process, right? So let's just do one of these. See, look. Bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada bing. And this is what I made in my bingo. So like it's very, very easy. So like done, you have a card. But we're just going to do some more. We're going to do that same card I made. So some of you are familiar with it, but we're going to make it like this. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll do the inside as well. So same thing, same thing. We're just going to get the Stampin' Seal. Let's make sure there's some in this one because I might have to refill it. I usually just do a whole strip of Stampin' Seal, but I'm trying to be conservative so I don't have to refill it in the middle of a video. All right, so there you go. So we're going to put that on. And then we're going to put the white one inside the same way. Or the white one is the same size. So I already have those made, but we stamped the white one first. So it's the same thing as this, right? It's the same size. It's 4 inches by, oh wait, did I write? It's the same as this one right here. 4 inches by 5 1/4. So the inside of your card is the same as this piece right here. So we're going to just stamp that. So let me take this piece. And we're going to stamp it with, we're going to use soft succulent. And we're just going to stamp a few little sprigs on the inside like that. That's all. But they're going to come out too dark if you just stamp straight onto your paper. So what we want to do is we want to do a little bit of off stamping. So I'm going to put the stamp, just put the stamp down, mount it, put your stamping block on it. Now tap, tap, and then stamp onto your mat, okay? Tap, tap, stamp onto your mat, and then stamp onto your card. Because then you get that lighter look, right? Tap, tap, stamp onto your mat, stamp onto your card. Okay, now we're going to take the other sprig and do that to the other sprig. Lay the sprig down, touch it, tap, tap, stamp, tap, tap. Just to get your stamps conditioned and to get them, to make sure you know you have them the right way. Okay, so that's the inside of our card. And if you want to put the dear friend sentiment, dear friend, how are you? Or my heart is tied to yours, tug if you need anything. If you want to put one of those really cool sentiments on there, then, you know, do it. Like right now, I probably should put a sentiment on there. And the reason I should is because I just smeared ink on there. So that's a perfect time to use a sentiment for the inside. So we're going to use this one. Dear friend, how are you? Because I'm already putting, only because this stamp is already used. And it's good to, like, you have to use a stamp a few times to get the ink to come off right. So let's just do the hello there while we're here. And then I'm going to change the stamp up to dear friend, how are you? And then I'll have these all done. So these are the stitch rectangles, right? I've cut out a bunch of these just to make sure, you know, I had enough. So I wouldn't have to worry about it during the video. So now I'm going to use Evening Evergreen. Open up the Evening Evergreen. Tap, tap, tap. Hello there. Tap, tap, tap. Hello there. Okay. It looks like it's getting some ink on the sides. So I have to make sure I'm not too wobbly. So when that happens, the other trick is you should use your mat. This is a silicone mat. So when you start testing your stamp and it starts getting those little pieces like that, it means that the stamp's getting a little wobbly, and you want to put it on a silicone mat, and then you won't get the edges of the stamp. Perfect. Typically, I would stamp a bunch of these at once. Like, I'm even going to stamp one of these because I need to do this kind of card later. Okay, so I just stamped my different rectangles. So now we're going to do the Dear Friend, How Are You? I'm going to pull that one off. And there's also one that fell on the floor, so I'm grabbing that one while I'm down there. All right, tap, tap, tap. Dear friend, how are you? See, don't put it on your card yet until you make sure. And where am I going to put it? Right where that mess up is. See? Now you can't tell. So you always fix mistakes by putting a stamp there. Now it looks like it's supposed to be like that. So where is my Evening Evergreen card? Let's put that. I'm going to move the machine too and give myself some more room. So here we are. And my measurements, got to keep the measurements clear so you can see those. I'm a very messy crafter, but hey, having fun. Hope you're having fun, and I hope you're crafting along. Let me know if you're crafting along with me. And it doesn't matter if you have a kit or not, you can still make this card, even with any materials you have. You can make this exact card. This exact card design. Feel free to use this design and just, change up the paper and the sentiment, and then you'll have a different look. I use my design patterns all the time, over and over again when I'm making cards. So now let's just adhere these, and then we'll get into the other part. Okay, I want to see if I want them to be upside down. I kind of like the gold one up on the top like that. I like the gold near the corner because it catches the eye. So leave yourself a 1/4 inch margin when you mount these. So now we had one layer by putting the natural touch on the card. Now we have 2 layers by putting these little pieces of Eden's Garden Designer Series paper. So now we have another layer. So what I've done here is I tried playing around with this, and I thought it looked best. The Evening Evergreen, the little rectangle I told you about, this little rectangle, I thought it looked best behind this. Behind the whole thing, but then the little gold piece, or it's, in this case, I think it's like copper, that would be like in front of it. So I put that in the middle. So we're going to put that we're going to put that little piece down here, like this, kind of centered, right? And then we're going to put that little piece. Now I'm still not using dimensionals yet. I'm going to use dimensionals for that part, but for this part I didn't. And before I adhere it too much, I want to make sure it's kind of centered. Okay, it's centered enough, right? Because if it's not centered, I would have picked that up. You can pick up the Seal Plus quickly, but then it turns into like concrete. You can never get the stuff off. It's so strong. So you can lift it up if you need to right away. Okay, so I'm just putting these straight down, and I'm going to hide the adhesive back there. Okay, and then we're going to use dimensionals for the hello there. Just 2 dimensionals, that's all. Let me move my camera over a little bit. Okay, and we're going to pop these up. So we have some bling to add, and we have some little die cuts to add. See, we're going to layer that up there. That layering, that's another layer. So we have 1 layer. These would be 2 layers. And then we kind of have 3 or 4 layers. It depends on if you count these each as different layers. But now we have like a multi-layered card with extra bling, and it just makes it so much fun. So I think it's really easy to put these on. We could have used, and I'll be teaching you how to use what's called adhesive sheets for die cutting. It's one of the die cutting techniques we cover in this workshop. All the workshops cover techniques. We're going to be doing some sponging, some blending. We're going to be doing different things like different kinds of stamping. But one thing that you could do with these fine dies is use adhesive sheets. And adhesive sheets means you turn these little pieces into stickers. But in the absence of adhesive sheets, we're going to use our fine tip glue, which is really nice. It's not called fine tip glue. We have a different one called that. This is actually just called Tombow glue, but what I like about it, hey, don't come up there. Stay. You have to hold it down there for a minute. What I like about the Tombow glue is it has a really fine tip. And one of my team members has told me, I'm using too much glue. Because she says, how do you go through so many bottles so quickly? Like hers lasts her for like hundreds of cards, and I guess I'm using too much glue. So I'm going to try to use not so much. It's very strong glue. Okay, let's put that over there back in its case. And I better just hold it there for a couple seconds to make sure. Now we need to add some bling. And what better bling to add than our bling that's in limited supply? Not supply, limited supply. Limited, I should say, limited time bling. We have bling. Stay. Stay. Okay, so we have besides the Eden's Garden Specialty Designer Series paper and in the cotton paper that's limited time, we also have these really cool gems, which should be just around until the next catalog as well. So let's go ahead and use a pack that's already open. But just so you know where I got the red from, the idea for the red, it's not really red, it's called Cherry Cobbler. So I got this idea because these were part of the gems. So the garden gems have the little tiny, they have some tiny cherry cobbler, some big cherry cobbler, and these really cool pieces like that. So I had already used up all the other pieces that were sort of leaf shaped. So let's put a few of those on there. And you can again use take your pick tool. I'm going to put a big one down here somewhere. I like to do things in threes when I do my bling. And voila, there we have it. In other words, like just odd numbers. It doesn't have to be 3. It could be 5. It could be different numbers like that. All right, so let's show you. Well, first of all, let me say hi to you guys, and then I'm going to show you the kits, and then I'm going to show you the other cards I made with Eden's Garden. And wow, you guys got some long comments. Okay, keep in mind, I'm kind of blind, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way toward blind people. I'm just kind of blind, meaning I need reading glasses, and it's hard for me to see your comments, so maybe I can't read all your comments all the time. But I can see your names and everything if you write something short. So I'm going to try to clean these foggy glasses of mine. I'm happy for the eyesight I have left because my mom has macular degeneration, and she doesn't have a lot of eyesight left at all. She still figures out how to sew, though. She's a wonderful seamstress. Hi, Betty. Hi, Anike from the Netherlands. I haven't seen you on here for a while. Hi, Janet. Hi, Cornelia from Austria. Wow, we got watchers from all over the world. Sheila Perkins from Ohio, and Lorna. Yeah, loves this for all kinds of cards. In fact, my friend Sandra is making Christmas cards out of this one. I'm going to, as I'm saying hi to you guys, pull out my bag of crafty goodness here to show you some other things I made with this. I've been trying to protect them because I keep moving everything around. So yes, you can do this very versatile suite. When I pick a suite, it's because I like it myself, and because I don't mind making 8 to 10 projects with it. I get things that I don't mind using myself that I like. So here's a simple concept of it, but using the exact same measurements, right, as we just used. Well, Denise is saying how cold it is in South Dakota. Hello, and Wendy. So the same measurements, but all you have to do is just the same thing we just did, right? That's why I started out by just cutting this, just to show you this, that you can take any paper you have, layer it up, designer series paper, a couple pieces of designer paper, a designer series paper, and you have, and then you can use the white one because this is darker contrasting paper. Okay, I don't think I put anything in that one. I put something in this one. So just the same kind of cards again. Okay, now here's another kind of concept. This one I used the same concept, but one of the stitch rectangles, that's a stitch rectangle again. Some little leaves. This is a piece of the Tidings of Christmas designer series paper, which should be, I think it's in low supply right now, but we still have it. Hi, Tracy. Yep. Oh, you guys are talking about how cold it is. Okay, talk about happy thoughts, guys. Happy thoughts. Oh my goodness. I can't even see all your conversations. Okay, I'm just going to keep moving on. So anyway, this is the same kind of card as that card, but it's just that I did it horizontally and I stamped right onto this stitch rectangle. Hi, Laurie. Here's one where I showed recently on my YouTube. I have an Ink It Up series on my YouTube channel, and it's where I show how to do different techniques and stamping. And when I first got this suite, I showed you how to stamp the cotton paper and how to emboss the cotton paper. Okay, so that's what this card is. And then here's multi-layering of that one stamp from the stamp set. And it's this stamp here, and it has a very neat, distinctive look, and you can do this multi-layering. So we'll probably do that one of the times, but we'll probably do it in a 3D sort of way, meaning I'll show you how to make something 3D with it. Here's another one example of how to emboss the cotton paper. And here's those garden gems again. And here's how to use those border dies. So now you're getting to see every single part of the suite. Here's another one. You could see my style coming through. See, there's that sprig again, and this is me just cutting a rectangle out of it with the trimmer, as opposed to using a stitch rectangle. But I mean, see how similar these cards are when you really think about it. Except this one has like probably an 1/8 inch margin, an 1/8 inch border instead of a 1/4 inch border. Here's the dear friend sentiment, and I'll be showing you some of that brushing technique. It's called using the blending brushes. And by the way, the coordinating colors of this paper are the only two colors are soft succulent and evening evergreen. Here's how to take the same card I showed you earlier, this one, and just adding a little bit of bling to it. And look what that bling does. Look at that extra bling. And the reason I had to add it right where I added it is because I had some ink splatters. See, and there's the inside. I had some like ink that I was trying to cover up, so I used those gems. And here's taking that same sentiment and using the Pansy Petals Designer Series paper. So hello there, what we just did. Just go ahead and use whatever paper you have and make a card with different paper. That sentiment is good with any paper. So you can see how versatile this Eden's Garden is. All right, so as far as the kit goes, you can, I'm not saying like exactly what's in every kit, because what happened is, this is my 4th time, and I've changed up the way I do kits a little bit because there's been so many issues with supply chain issues, let's put it that way. So this time when you go to the link in the description of this video, if you're in the US, it'll say, you'll see in my description of my kits, it's going to say something to the effect of, you'll get your basic white cardstock, you'll get your thick basic white, your vellum, that's what I was showing you earlier. This is vellum cardstock, right? You're going to get a piece of vellum because we're going to be coloring some vellum. It's great for layering. Well, you're going to get all that no matter what. Basic white, vellum, thick white, thick very vanilla. But what I wrote in my description is that you're going to get 6 current colors of cardstock. So I'm showing you this, but keep in mind, like I've already ran out of, garden green? So I've already had to do a replacement. I had to already start putting old olive instead of garden green. But you're going to get enough greens. And the reason I made this kit all green except for cherry cobbler is you're going to see why, because all the papers are going to coordinate with what I'm sending you here. So you get evening evergreen, crumb cake. Actually, you're getting 6 colors. So again, they might not be the exact colors. I'm just showing you a sample kit. Thick basic white, regular basic white, soft succulent cardstock, cherry cobbler. The reason they got 2 cherry cobblers, some people got 2 cherry cobblers just because like some of the ends were bent, so I gave you 2 pieces instead of 1. And then just jade, old olive, very vanilla. So that's kind of the sample of how much cardstock you'll get. Imagine how many cards you can make, because you can make 2 out of each piece of cardstock. I always throw in some retired items that I hoard and love to share with my crafty friends. And for example, the mini pizza box. Let me just flip this over and show you. Mini pizza box retired, but we'll decorate it. We'll stamp onto it. Last class I showed you how to spritz it. Okay, then piece of, I didn't give you a full sheet of adhesive, but this is adhesive sheets. you got half a sheet of adhesive. So that means I'm going to show you, and one of the techniques I'm going to show you is how to make stickers out of your die cuts. And you got one of each envelope because I want you to see how awesome our envelopes are. And we can stamp onto them and turn those into bags. Well, that's something I just learned how to do from Sarah. You know what? Vellum. I think I forgot to put vellum. Hold on. One moment. See, what happened is I think I forgot to put the vellum in here. So it's a good thing I checked this one first. So this one needs vellum. So whatever I put on the, on the label. And if you ever miss something, let me know. If you ever get a kit and it says something's inside and it's not there, let me know, because I'm forever sending little things I forgot. And then you're going to get one of these. Now check out this. This is so cool. I had to include this in the kit because look at this. Look how cool that is. We're going to decorate the craft boxes with this beautiful, beautiful die that fits perfectly around the border. I even thought of doing a shaker, but then I was like, no, we don't even need a shaker. It already has a beautiful window. You get an acetate card box. So that was a craft gift box, an acetate card box, Stampin' Dimensionals. This is another one of the retired items I throw in there. Clear tiny treat box that's retired, but just something for you to decorate later. I might not necessarily make that in the class, but sometimes I just add a couple extra little things I show you ideas for. And then some little baby 3-inch envelopes, tiny envelopes. I'll put this back in later. Okay, and then this one is, let's see. So the reason I gave you so many green papers is because I put a lot of green cardstock in there. This one is Forever Greenery, designer series paper, and it's retired. And I hoarded some double-sided Forever Greenery because I thought it'd be great for the projects with this Eden's Garden. And so I got enough to put in the kits. But when it's gone, it's gone. You'll get something else. I mean, it's like I'll be ordering more things. I'm ordering more things as soon as people order kits. I order more things. However, I can't get any more of that. So when it's gone, it's gone. Now here's really cool stuff in this one. This says Ever Eden cotton paper. So while supplies, like we have this cotton paper, and I put some in your kit, but you can get a whole pack of it. See, it's kind of like tissue paper. It's the stuff I put on the back of the cards. So it's this stuff here. See how I embossed it even? You can emboss this cotton paper. I hope you can see that. So this paper's cool, so we'll be using that a little bit for our 3D project, not 3D projects, our card layering. Okay, and then you get a piece of this cork paper, which is retiring very soon, so I definitely need to order this before it retires. Brushed metallic cardstock and cork specialty paper. So this one's already shut. So you get like pieces enough. I gave you 3 pieces. They're 4 inches wide by 6. The brushed metallic cardstock. I gave you 3 pieces that were big enough for this giant piece, so that you were able to die cut. Yeah, Yvonne's saying, you're not a hoarder, you're a paper collector. Okay, every good kit has to have the designer series paper that goes with the stamp set, right? So this is what I'm getting now, and I'm gonna end registrations this month in December because I can't get this paper again in January, and this has to go in the kit. This is kind of like a must. Your kit must include this because I'm pretty much using this like in almost every project. So by the way, this is the Eden's Garden Specialty Designer Series paper. Okay, so now I'm gonna get to show you what it all looks like because I couldn't show you because I don't even have a whole pack of it left. But isn't that beautiful? How one side's foiled? It's like, I love this. I love all the sprigs. I love nature stuff, and I love gold foiling, and I love bling. So this is fun. And I tried to like save pieces of my old, paper packs to make your paper strong so it doesn't, bend and stuff. But just love, love, love. Look at the ombre side of this. Isn't that cool? So the only colors in here are soft succulent, evening evergreen, white, and gold. And that's it. Those are the only colors. Okay, and I've already planned out the projects, if not all on paper, but definitely in my head. And so I gave you, knowing we'd be doing these cards, I gave you these 3 pieces. But again, you're not all getting the same pieces. So you will get a piece of this so you can make the first project. But look, I wrote, in good taste, natural touch. That's what it's called, natural touch. Well, you're in good taste. I couldn't give everybody the same exact patterns, but you're going to get something with wood so that you can do the card I just showed. Okay? Oops, let me put that back in order. And then I give you specialty papers because I thought these would be fun to use for layering, because I know that the in colors go with these in colors. Fresh freesia, soft succulent. We know soft succulent goes because it's in there. And this is evening evergreen. And you got pale papaya and what was it called again? Pale papaya? Magenta, not magenta madness. It's the other one. Polished pink. It's called polished pink. So I gave you that because I knew that the shimmery vellum would be nice to die cut out. And because it matches, it coordinates with the colors in this suite. Let me flip that over and show you. I added some bedazzling that you can't get anymore. This is a celebration paper. Now I have that in the kits until it's gone. Here's another retired paper. Here, rose and gold. I just added, I didn't have much of this, and I can get more, but I just added little strips because we're just going to be using it for little highlights. This is called rose and rose gold specialty paper. This is a retired paper I included. It's called gold glimmer paper, and then I included some of this retired paper, pretty much from my stash. But when I run out of this, I'll change it up to something else. I thought this was really cool because it's flowers for every season. And the reason I thought this was cool for this kit is because the Just Jade is one of the dominating colors in this one. Look at this. Look at this paper, the Forever Greenery. So we can use a lot of these colors, or the solid parts, right, as backgrounds for this paper here. Okay, and if that's not all, there are really fun 3D things I include in my kits. And, you know, sometimes I put little surprises in them, but I had somebody ask me on my email the other day, well, why can't you tell me what the surprises are? And I'm like, well, because they're surprises. And she's like, well, I want to know everything that's in the kit. I'm like, but even I don't know what my surprises are going to be yet. That's why they're called surprises. So anyway, so as not to spoil the surprise, there's always a little extra something in here that's different. I'm trying to open this, but anyway, I want to open this, but I'm not going to open this one. I'm instead just going to tell you that it's a surprise. Okay, so in here are some Hershey nuggets, some ribbons, some little embellishments, and some things like that. And then you're going to get a coloring tool. And if you didn't get it yet, like, let me know, because I may have forgot to add these to all the kit. But I'm giving everybody at least, I'm going to try to give you a sponge dauber. In every past kit, I've tried to include some kind of coloring tool, whether it be a blender pen or a blending brush or some kind of extra surprise at the end, whether it be some kind of sponge. But hopefully I'm including a coloring tool this time too, because we do a lot of techniques. So that's the kit. I hope you will sign up if you're in the US for the kit, and it's only $45. And I mean, I do get fees taken out when you pay. Like, I have to pay PayPal the fees, and then there's a little shipping charge, but I only charge $4 for shipping, so it's $49. But then I actually pay $9, or like around $9 to ship with the flat rate bubble mailer. So I eat that cost too, plus the cost of all the bags and the labels and all the stuff that I put into it and the time. So it's really much a labor of love, but I want you to be able to follow along with my projects. All right, so that's all for now. And I hope to see you in part 2. I'm going to be doing about one of these every week, all during the month of December and all during the month of January. And we will work our way through many, many projects using these amazing Eden's Garden. That's all for now. This is the Paper Chef. We'll see you next time.